Scottie Pippen and Kendall Gill to help bolster their chances of competing for a playoff berth in the 2003-04 season. But after a dismal 4-10 start, the team chose a different course of action. Paxson fired then head coach Bill Cartwright and hired former Suns coach Scott Skiles. From that point on, the transition began. Gone were holdovers like Jalen Rose, Eddie Robinson, and Marcus Fizer. Following a robust 2000, the Baby Bulls took shape. Anchored by a young core of Heinrich, Ben Gordon, Luol Deng, and Andres Nocioni, Paxson had set a solid foundation going forward. After a shaky 0-9 start at the beginning of the 2004-05 season, the Bulls' young core flourished, finished the year with 47 wins, clinching a playoff berth for the first time since 1998. Despite having a 2-0 lead on the Washington Wizards, the Bulls lost the next 4 games and were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. Still, the future looked bright.
You ready?
One minute.
Even though they had won 6 fewer games in the previous
I'm in this blunt.
the team pushed the Miami Heat to 6 hard-fought games in the 2006 playoffs before being eliminated in the first round for the second consecutive year. The Heat, led by Shaquille O'Neal and Dwayne Wade, would go on to win the NBA championship that June. Thanks to a shrewd trade made the previous year that sent Eddie Curry to the New York Knicks, the team was primed with cap space and the number 2 overall pick heading into the 2000. After adding Tyrese Thomas in the draft, the team stole center Ben Wallace away from the rival Pistons. Reports also circulated that the Bulls were interested in acquiring Kevin Garnett via trade, which would have bolstered the team into an Eastern Conference contender. Unfortunately, the trade didn't come to fruition, and the team came out of the summer with Thomas, Wallace, and veteran forward P.J. Brown, who was acquired from the New Orleans Hornets in a trade involving Tyson Chandler. But even without a bona fide star in the mix, 49 games and saw significant growth for both Ben Gordon and Luol Deng. The 5th-seeded Bulls faced off against the Heat again in the first-round matchup, but unlike the previous year, this time, the Bulls knocked off the defending champions in a convincing sweep. Unfortunately, the momentum didn't carry into round 2. The Pistons took a 3-0 lead on the Bulls, and despite winning games 4 and 5, the Bulls were eliminated in Game 6, ending their playoff run. Continue to grow in the 2007 offseason. Many NBA reporters and analysts thought the Bulls would add a final piece to the puzzle. All-stars like Kobe Bryant, Paul Gasol, and again, Kevin Garnett were linked to the Bulls. However, Paxson seemed reluctant to part with some of his young pieces, mainly Luol Deng and Ben Gordon. Even without adding a proven star, the Bulls were still picked to be a top seed in the East entering the 2008 season. However, tensions started to crack the solid foundation Paxson built. Both Deng and contract extensions heading into the year, causing some friction with the organization. Also, head coach Scott Skiles was starting to wear thin on his young core, and after a 9-16 start, Skiles was fired that December. Jim Boylan, that's B-O-Y-L-A-N, stepped in as an interim coach the rest of the season, but the team still struggled. And after trading Ben Wallace to the Cleveland Cavaliers, it was clear Paxson was content on retooling. The team finished with 33 the postseason for the first time since 2004. There's no doubt that Paxson set up a solid foundation in his earlier run as GM. His young core showed plenty of growth and promise from 2003 to 2008, and that 3-year stretch of playoff appearances certainly helped reinvigorate a fan base that was dying for competitive basketball. But still, Bulls fans are left wondering what might have been if Paxson found a way to add a star to the mix. Alright, let's bring in our guest to help us grade this period of the Garpax era. Our first guest is the host of the Bulls HQ podcast. Joining us from Australia is Mark Terry-Jules. Mark, how's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming back on. And making his rebuildable debut, the host of the Bulls Beat podcast, the legend, Doug Jonas. Welcome, Podfather.
I feel weird that I've been nicknamed by Fred. Excited to be here.
So I've been fans of both of you dating back each of your times at Bulls Confidential. Doug, I've been listening to your podcast since college, back when I would download your podcast on my computer and then transfer it to my MP3 player so I could listen to it on the train. Mark, I used to read your posts on Bulls Confidential and really started diving into your podcast more frequently the last couple of years. And the one thing that I've noticed about both of you,
I hope you've been practicing.
you guys writing or the podcast,
It's my first day playing.
yeah,
whatever.
For the baby boom. And that's why I wanted to have you both on today to go over this group. And I'll start with you, Doug. What did you enjoy most about this era of girls basketball?
I think there's just one memory. I went to the first playoff game in the 04-05 season. Those who watched that game would remember it as the No Sione game, where everyone was chanting No Sione at the end of the game. And it was the loudest I've ever heard at the United Center, including playoff games I went to in the Jordan era. It was just incredible. Just there was such a hunger for playoff basketball to be back after the Krause era. It was unbelievable. Besides the moment, maybe a general theme that I remember was probably just feeling like you could actually make something of this again. I know we look back on it and kind of feel like that's very difficult because we never had a star player right around the era of the Pistons who just won the title without really a transcendent superstar. And so it didn't feel like such a crazy way to build up a team to have a really good player at every position without having a superstar at anyone.
It's hard not to look back on it. I mean, you think about just going over all the transactions, all the storylines of that era, the 4 to 5 year era. I think the thing that just stands out most to me is the fact that I like typical underdog. I typically like rooting for defense first teams, and I typically like rooting for teams that have been organically built through the draft. And I guess that baby era sort of that culmination of that team sort of reflects in those three, I guess, key phases or key elements, if you want to refer to it as that. So knowing that I like rooting for that type of team, I suppose, and this team was always going to have some sort of impact on me personally, so it's not a surprise that I'm really gravitating towards that era, and probably me at least being in a different country where I suppose we're like digesting.
I used to. Oh wow.
Because obviously the geographical differences, like the internet sort of became a thing where you were able to access games a lot easier in the early 2000s from a country like Australia, getting into a team from a completely different other country is a lot easier to basketball in say 2001, 2002 than it was in 1993 as an example. So this was probably the first sort of era of rules basketball where I completely dove in and fell in love with the team as well. I think just that whole culmination of things is why I look back on that era so fondly, and it probably helps as well that the preceding 3, 4, 5 years before this team were just complete hell that made it a lot easier to love this team as well.
Mark, when Jerry Reinsdorf hired John Paxson, what was your initial reaction? Was it sort of a surprise to you, or something that you sort of rallied behind?
I wouldn't say it's a surprise given the type of people and the type of the fact that the team typically people that have some sort of affiliation with the organisation. But like going back to that last time, I think we were so done with that that it could have been anyone, just someone that had a semblance of a plan, someone that put together something that no. All have been pretty happy at that point.
Larry Markin, that's my boy.
I guess bringing Curry and Chan and going to Dorfer as well, and maybe going for that sort of high-risk, high-reward approach. I'm more conservative in that nature. I would have just kept the whole album for anything going. But for me, I was just done with that era. Sort of the last year. So the fact that Paxson came in wasn't necessarily about Paxson and who he was. It was more so about just the fact that differently, hopefully, the better basketball.
I agree with Mark a lot. I think one of the big things to make is Paxson was on the air. He was well liked. He was a hero from the old era. He was someone very easy to root for. He was kind of down to earth. No one liked Krause forever because Phil Jackson pitted Krause against the team and against really the fan base. And so the fans didn't like Krause, and when he failed to deliver new good players to the team, and people still blame him fairly or unfairly for the breakup of the Bulls. I think everyone is very excited in the fan base to see Krause leave. And
they kill us on them fast
A
breaks.
bit of hindsight, I feel better about Jerry Krause, but I was in that group at the time. It was this guy's job, and I thought Paxson was a great fit to come in.
That would be.
So despite this being grading Garpax, Gar isn't really in the picture yet as a prominent figure. To refresh our listeners, Scout, Paxson started and was promoted to Director of Player Personnel in 2004. He wasn't bumped up to GM until 2009, so we'll talk about that more in our next episode. Before we start grading from the 2003 offseason to the 2008 regular season, let me quickly explain how this works. Mark, Doug, and I will grade Garpax in 4 categories on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Those categories are draft record, pitching signings and re-signings, trades, and coaching decisions. We'll be taking into account the good and the bad, and yes, we'll focus on the missed opportunities too. I'll be tallying at the conclusion of each segment, and we'll read each of the final scores at the end. So let's get started with draft record. From 2003 to 2007, most of John Paxson's notable draft choices followed a clear blue character guys who decorated college programs. Prior to Paxson's arrival, former GM Jerry Krause targeted mostly high-risk, high-reward players, including high schoolers Ed Curry and Tyson Chandler. So the 180 philosophy made perfect sense.
Bulls Nation.
Paxson selected Kansas point guard Kurt Heinrich with the 7th overall pick in 2003. The following year's draft is often cited as one of Paxson's best as an executive. He not only selected UConn guard Ben Gordon 3rd overall and Duke guard Chris 2nd round, but he also traded a future first-rounder and the draft right to Jackson Worland to the Suns for Duke tools from Walt Dang. Heinrich, Gordon, and Dang were vital pieces for the franchise. Heinrich is a solid player throughout his whole career, averaging almost 11 points per game, 5 assists, and 2 separate stints for the franchise. Gordon led the team in scoring every season throughout his 5-year run with the Bulls, and notched the 6th Man of the Year award during his rookie year in 2005. Despite raw skills and Dang grew into a solid two-way player and became a cornerstone for the franchise. During his 10 seasons with the Bulls, Dang was a 2-time All-Star and earned NBA Defensive Second Team honors in 2012. In addition to Heinrich, Gordon, and Dang, Paxson selected Florida center
8-10 for 13
in 2007. Powered by relentless energy and hustle, Noah emerged into one of the best big men in the league and a fan favorite in Chicago. His skills as a passer, rebounder, made him the jack of all trades. Noah's signature season came in 2014. He not only won Defensive Player of the Year,
that's Larry Markin.
All-NBA's first
Good defense,
honor,
boy.
but he also finished 4th in MVP voting. Despite drafting solid players throughout this period, Paxson wasn't completely flawless. Prior to the 2003 draft, the Bulls worked out Marquette guard Dwayne Wade, but weren't in a desirable position to draft him. According to multiple reports, the Toronto Raptors, who had the number 4 pick, traded with the Bulls. However, Paxson supposedly was hesitant to part with veteran forward Donovan Marshall in trade package, decided not to pull the trigger. Marshall was later traded that December to the Raptors. Wade, well, he went down as one of the best guards. Paxson's other questionable choice came in the 2006 draft. Texas forward LaMarcus Aldridge was viewed as a safe choice following a very decorated career. While Paxson
First quarter, man. Quarters to
he
go.
looked to break the mold this time around. LSU forward Tyrese Thomas was a raw, freakish athlete oozing with plenty of potential. The Portland Trailblazers, who sat number 4 overall, coveted Aldridge.
Wendell, you gotta finish that.
Past the Charlotte Bobcats at number 3. So the Bulls agreed to draft Aldridge second, and traded him that evening with the 2nd-round pick for the draft rights to Thomas and forward Victor Criapa. Unfortunately, Thomas would go on to have a wildly erratic career with the Bulls. He was stealing many and hope for. He was traded to the Bobcats in 2010 and was out of the league by 2015. Meanwhile, Aldridge would become a 7-time All-Star and is entering his 14th season in 2020. Still, there is no question that Paxson's notable draft choices had profound impacts on the franchise. They not only were solid players on the court, but each of them also brought a winning culture to the Chicago Bulls. Alright, so I want to start with the 2004 draft. Let me start with you, Mark, because you talked about this on a few of your podcasts. How big was that 2004 draft class early on during the one debate?
I can't believe we're going to skip 2013 when 2003
Yeah, one.
right when it all started.
Come on, man. We gotta cut this run,
We're
man.
going to get there. We're going to get there. I got that coming up.
Good. But I mean, 2004 really changed it. Ben Gordon at number 3 was a great selection, and then you trade for Roll Dang at number 7. I mean, those two guys were a fixture of the baby Bulls, and we remember that era because of those two guys in large part. So, I mean, that draft was huge. I mean, it should have changed the trajectory where you bring two guys who can come and start. Ben Gordon was the starting at that point, he's a starting caliber player, and guys who had huge upside. I think we forget about Roll Dang and the potential that we thought years 1, 2, and 3 never necessarily reached the heights that we thought he may get to. But the player he was when he was
76%.
He was as a prospect coming in as well. I think we sort of forget about that knowing what Dan's career sort of played out. Maybe Ben Gordon too, given how his career sort of went quite short. But that draft really did change the trajectory of the team. You had those two guys with Kirk Heinrich and bringing Chris Duhon as well and a few others. And suddenly with him Paxton really turned the situation around, brought in plays that made sense for, I guess, that pretty typical identity that we sort of associate with Chicago basketball. And like I said before, there were names that we probably knew that weren't going to be star players and such. Again, they were those sort of underdog players, those big defense first players that you love to root for. Maybe not necessarily Ben Gordon as a defense first player, but his offense, he saved us a lot of the time. So that draft was pretty
Yeah, I would only add, like, I agree with that year in the draft was the baby Bulls draft. Those were the guys. Those were the core guys that we were really building around. Kirk Heinrich would probably be the next most important guy when you think of that era, and I think people argue that the Gordon Heinrich club. But without getting into that, those two guys in the deal was huge. And a great player off the bench. Even though he wasn't a draft pick, he still kind of felt like part of that class in a way. As a new player, they got the one thing.
It's my first time playing with the Heat today.
Has been typically viewed as a very conservative.
It's my first time playing with the Heat.
That trade of the 2005 first round pick to get that pick from Phoenix was a really big risk at the time. I mean, that was a pick that could have easily ended up being very high based on what the Bulls was. And you have to think, if you're Phoenix, that you're expecting to get a lottery pick, probably a good lottery pick the next year based on the recent past. So that was a pretty aggressive move to bring in Luol Deng and make that class happen and really help get the Bulls run off and going.
It's amazing that, a trade like that was able to really come into fruition. And you think, like, in today's NBA, could you really move back into the lottery?
Wow.
Second round pick essentially, and a future first. I don't know if you could have pulled that off in today's NBA. I don't know if you could.
Yeah, I mean, the league's changed. I think that's something that we need to factor in here. Maybe we don't. I mean, the league has changed to the point where I think it's gotten smarter and maybe Paxton was sort of on the fringe to a degree back from that point where he was being able to find that competitive advantage in the draft. But I think it has changed. This type of deal now, I hope to see something similar to it. I mean, we've seen some draft moves happen in the last couple of drafts where teams sort of giving up future first, plus a draft pick in that specific draft as well. Whereas here, it seemed like a clear win now that we know how to play that for the Bulls. But at the time, like they sort of suggested, giving up a future first round pick, I think teams were probably more conservative in that nature, or at least they should have been, as we would come to learn. That adding some the Bulls sort of reap the rewards of a team being silly and giving away future first. So it's always a bit of a risk, but it worked out on this occasion for the Bulls.
I'm going to do some rapid fire. First of all, which had a broader impact on the entire 2004 draft class, or using Joakim Noah in 2007?
Well, it really depends on how you factor this, or what time period you sort of just want to focus on. If we're just thinking baby Bulls era, then I think Ben Gordon and Luol Deng to them have more of an impact. If we're thinking more from a longevity standpoint, then obviously Joakim Noah becomes more of an important draft pick in that point. So it really depends on what time period we want to cut off and just focus on. But if we're just thinking of who traditionally
And one. Let's get it.
Bulls, I think Gordon and Deng have more impact than Noah. That's not just Noah became more of a forward. 2009 onwards. But for this specific era, I would say the 2004 draft itself.
Oh, Wendell.
In terms of the players that brought in, we could talk about the Knicks trade later on, but I think Gordon and Dan had more of an impact on that baby Bulls era than Noah.
Yeah, and to clarify, by broader impact, I guess I would mean more for long term. So beyond the baby Bulls era and into the future there. You would probably say Joakim Noah was in that respect.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ben, if we're taking that length, I suppose Ben Gordon falls off pretty quickly, given that his time in Chicago was, as we've come to learn, not that long. But I think we've got to sort of stand up the Lowell gang as well. I mean, he throughout, or from 2004 all the way through 2013, the key fixture in the Bulls as well. Some of his team maybe underrated at points among the fan base, I should say. But I would probably that's a tough one actually. Whether you go to Ben and Noah route, it's an interesting one. Personally, I would probably say Noah because he's a personal favourite of mine, but I do think Ben is overlooked at times because to a point I sort of alluded before, I think people had a high hopes of what he could be. He maybe didn't live up to those expectations, so maybe people viewed him differently. But Dan was super important, right? The mid-2000s or into maybe 2010, 2011 period as well.
I think it's easily the 2004 class. The quality of what a Ben Gordon in that fifth year on the qualifying offer had an amazing playoff run in some of the most fun playoff games the Bulls have had since the Jordan era against the Boston Celtics. There's tons and tons of clutch shots. So maybe he only gave you 5 years, but 5 years is still a pretty long time to be exciting. Luol Deng gave about a decade, about 10 years. I don't know if that's exactly right, but it strikes me as about right. And I think Joakim Noah was on the team for 8 or 9 years. Luol Deng's impact over his career is probably similar to Noah overall. And Ben Gordon still gave you 5 years, and Joakim probably still gave you 3 years of decent play, not amazing play. But you add up that 2004 class, and I think it easily this baby blue era, which Mark, you and I both think of very fondly. Joakim Noah's impact is really largely related to the Derrick Rose era, and it's not the Derrick Rose Joakim Noah era, it's the Derrick Rose. So I just don't think it's quite as big. That era was more fun, but it was more fun because of Rose. Though, of course, the season where we basically ran Noah as the point guard or point center was pretty exciting in that playoff series against the Nets that they won. What was pretty thrilling, I still have to say, for me, is pretty easily the 2004 class.
Which Bull meant more to the franchise? Kirk Hinrich or Ben Gordon? I'm going to start with Doug on this. Give a chance, Mark.
Sure, for me personally, it's Ben Gordon. I think he raised what the Bulls are doing a little bit more than Kirk Hinrich. I think, honestly, for the fan base, it's Kirk Hinrich. If you just look at they are right now, when people Hinrich left, they're playing a video for him, and everyone is cheering and excited. And people weren't really excited about Ben Gordon, and very few people are excited about him now. So maybe that will soften in time, and maybe not it has. But I think Kirk Hinrich for the fan base at large was definitely more beloved, and so I guess that means more for the franchise. But I think Gordon had a bigger impact on winning in this particular era.
The defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try and take the emotion out of this one as much as I can for myself, but it's such a subjective point to do. I don't know what the criteria is of the question, and I don't know if you can specifically define criteria because it's almost up to the individual as well. Because, I mean, if it's talent, pure quality of play, and then Ben Gordon was a better player than Kirk Hinrich, I'll see that point. But in terms of what the player meant to the franchise, not necessarily just for the specific era, but just generally over time as well, then I think
that's a turnover.
Proves it.
What the hell is going on?
I guess more below.
Time out, Jim Borland.
Sort of alluded to there. So again, it comes down to the individual criteria each person has. I mean, if you're prepared to take the 4 or 5 years that Ben Gordon was in Chicago over. Fair enough.
Alright, Rex, I'm about to get some pop.
Alright. If you're someone who's more inclined like myself to value what not only during the baby Bulls era, but maybe beyond that as well, which I'm probably in the minority when it comes to the latter years, I think that's where it gets interesting. But it ultimately depends on the individual, what they value, how they define success, what they love in their player, and those sorts of things. So I don't know if we can come to a common answer, but situation, but at the same time, I'm willing to concede that Ben Gordon was a damn good player, and this whole Kirk versus Ben Gordon thing it's kind of dumb, just generally, because they both kind of fit with each other perfectly. So the whole concept is really dumb to me.
I want to go back to 2003 when the Bulls picked Heinrich. We know there have been multiple reports about the Bulls' interest in Dwayne Wade and a proposed trade that was axed by John Paxson involved Donyell Marshall. Let's start with you, Mark. Given the roster situation and Jay Williams' injury, do you sort of give Pax a slight pass for not trading up for Wade?
I give him a pass in the fact that, maybe not a pass, but I mean, what Wade become, I don't think anyone's expecting Wade to become. And a lot of the times when we do this sort of, when we go back in time and sort of look at these things years before or years after they've happened, I think we think of the player as versus who they were at that point in time. So I don't think anyone expected anything remotely close to what Wade did here throughout his career. To what happened when he was pick 5 or whatever it was with Miami Heat. So I think these sort of these perspectives will end up applying things that sort of flawed to a degree because we can't almost separate the player that Wade became versus what he was at the time. So whilst I'm willing to maybe give Paxson some sort of a pass at the same time, I understand who would come to this conversation very well. Paxson's conservative nature in terms of wanting to keep Donyell Marshall on board and not willing to move him in a potential deal for Wade. I can understand that criticism, but at the same time, I think the conversation of Wade versus Donyell Marshall and Kirk Heinrich is almost flawed or set up to fail because of what Wade became versus what the other players became, I suppose, and to the point that no one really knew what Wade was at in terms of what he became, and I think that point is always sort of missed. So it's one of those situations where you can say, yeah, I don't give Paxson the pass, but at the same time, did anyone expect Wade to become this Hall of Famer that won 3 titles? Probably not.
Yeah, I have to wonder why you gave John Paxson a pass for not trading up to LeBron. I mean, as long as we're going to talk about deals that never really existed and didn't happen, you know, the Raptors said this deal was on the table, the Bulls said this deal was on the table, and people have just lived by it for so long, and there's really no particular reason to believe that this deal actually could have happened, given that both teams have publicly said that this wasn't available and that they weren't going to do this. And so I guess I get it, but if you do it there, then I would say Paxson was on the job for like a few months at this point. They're still trying to get his bearings. Probably he wasn't going to walk in and take major risks without having done the research for a very long period of time. But I always just can't blame a GM or team for not trading up to do something when you don't really know what the deal was potentially there or not there. And like I said, there's rumor was just something that was denied by both front offices. So I'm not sure why it sticks around so much in some people's heads as if it could have been done.
Well, just to add to that, I mean, like, it's probably because it's the only way that the fact he's a Chicago guy, obviously came to the Bulls at some point, not necessarily when Paxson made one. So I think there's some elements as to why this continues to rear its head. But I think the other funny thing to think about with this as well is obviously Kirk Heinrich picked at number 7. We can always draw this scenario again, and we may be doing this in 10 years down the line with the whole Wendell Carter draft, where, you know, people. It's
Make that run.
That people would suggest.
That's all y'all gotta do, man. Make that run.
Number 4, or number 3, or number 1, whatever it may have been.
Ooh, excuse me.
Go for a player like Marvin Bagley or Luka Doncic or
You got 2 more quarters to go. I'm not even worried about it.
That scenario sort of replayed itself out all these years later on, 14, 15 years later on. But I kind of agree that trading up is kind of a risky situation. We've seen
Jimmy Butler, man.
Trade up worked out the way that it hopes. So I think if you're trading up, you be damn sure that what you're getting is going to be a Hall of Fame level talent or an All-Star level talent. We can sit here and say that obviously Wade became that player, that where he was guaranteed to become that player.
You know, put you in, Thaddeus.
We have that same maturity.
You be down by 8. That's decent.
I want to briefly
4-possession game.
2006 draft with Tyrese.
Wow.
So
Let him right. I don't like that.
One, were you on Pax's side for rolling the dice with Thomas over Marcus Aldridge? And two, how differently would things have been with LaMarcus Aldridge in tow? Because D-Rose probably would end up on this roster.
I think I was definitely in the Aldridge camp, for sure. I understood a lot of Chris Harris. If you looked at pretty much any of the metrics that you grade out how players score and how they translate to the Harris has just destroyed Aldridge.
That's it.
Every single one. And it was just one of those things where it was just really sense. Aldridge was had huge red flags. Besides having a large hip injury, just recently he was someone who was a very poor rebounder, which is
The
very
defense.
bad for a big with low blocking, like steal numbers. It just seemed like his markers showed like maybe not, and scored to superior size. And Harris just had great numbers and all these things that typically are more accurate at projecting things. That said, I still like Aldridge a little bit more because he seemed to fit exactly with the Bulls.
That is John.
Kind of
3-possession game.
His own offense and generate his own
Second
shots.
quarter.
I think you nailed it. If you took Aldridge, you certainly have been much better off in the David Bulls era. And obviously, Harris didn't work out. At the
Yeah.
same time, you wouldn't get Derrick Rose. And I think if you look
Damn,
at
man, you gotta stay in front of Butler.
You kind of realize that that was sort of a flash in the pan. Ben Gordon didn't keep up on the track. He looked like he might be after his rookie year. Luol Deng's best year of his career was his third season, and he never played better than that. Kirk Hinrich had an amazing year. I think it was his fourth year, and then never played better than that again. And you had a bunch of guys who just all peaked at like
Oh,
3 and went downhill, which is just really bizarre when you look at it in the vacuum. And Aldridge would not have been enough children out of that type of
Mismatch.
thing. So, in the end, it definitely worked out better that the Bulls got Derrick Rose. But that's a terrible argument to make in like whether this is a good or bad fit. That it just so happened that it got them Rose later by random butterfly effect. It was obviously a very poor example.
So I'll say that, surprisingly, I was actually, I guess Garpax one of the things back at this point, but I'll refer to them as Garpax, but I was a Garpax girl, and a lot of it was because this was a team built out of the draft, and I appreciated that. I won't say conservative nature. I mean, some will suggest this.
Wow.
I kind of like
Showtime.
where he was taking players that made sense, that had good reputations. That we just at this point the Bulls just needed good players. Got the crowd there before where that 4 or 5 year rebuild just didn't really amount to anything, and the roster really didn't amount to much, and there was just not enough good players on the roster itself. So the Bulls just needed good players, and that's what they got in Kirk Hinrich. They got that in Dan Gordon. They got that in Dan obviously as well. And I was of the view that LaMarcus Aldridge should have been the pick. I understand the move for trading for Tyrese Thomas and the whole upside conversation, but if I was going with the whole Aldridge decision, because to what sort of Doug suggested, that he sort of fit where this Bulls team headed. He was more of that option of the power forward, and that's what they needed, that scoring option of power forward as well. It's funny, like, we've gone through years supporting this team. There's always been one position of need this team needed. Throughout the Baby Bulls era, it was a power forward. Throughout the Derrick Rose era, it was this need for a shooting guard or a wing of some sort. So there was always this position that they needed the Bulls, and it just seemed better than most. I would have been conservative in this draft as well. I would have gone with LaMarcus Aldridge. I wasn't a huge Tyrese Thomas fan coming into the draft. I think that's a proved true throughout his NBA career as well for various reasons. But it's interesting because I would have liked to have seen what this team would become. And Doug rightly notes that this Baby Bulls era sort of quickly fell off after 3 or 4 years. But I just wonder, having a player like LaMarcus Aldridge, though he's probably not the typical number one option to hope for. I just wonder what the careers of Ben Gordon, Kirk Hinrich, and Luol Deng will do, or how they differ based on.
Good defense, y'all.
You see, you make it easy.
Good defense.
Their careers.
Hell no.
That have such a longevity. Is that equal necessarily and so soon? I don't know that.
Get that nigga cold, man.
Just be good. Look at it on paper.
Hell no.
Ben Gordon,
Thought this was.
Luol Deng, LaMarcus Aldridge, and then Joe Nolan in 2000. 2007 coming into the season. That's a pretty damn good team. Maybe it doesn't win anything, but maybe all of a sudden you've got 5 good starters, guys that you potentially package and trade and maybe make some moves if things sort of play out a little bit differently. But it's always going to be one of the biggest what-ifs of the last sort of 20 years for this organisation. It's one that I constantly think about even to this day, but I would have gone over.
Let's get to the grades here. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate draft choices from this period? Mark, let's start with you.
Well, I mean, it's because I mean the first 3 or 4 years or whatever it was, they were as good as we probably could hope for based on the way the Bulls were picking at that point. You could make the whole argument of whether the Bulls should trade it up in 2003 and maybe that should factor into this grade. And obviously the whole Aldridge and Thomas thing may influence grades as well. So depending on again what your individual criteria on to me, I'd probably give it maybe a 3.5 or a 4 because that Aldridge and Thomas I just didn't agree with at the time. It's not necessarily a hindsight decision. It is something that I just didn't necessarily agree with at the time. Maybe I wasn't as angry about it because of Paxson's track record through 2003 through 2005. Maybe we were giving the benefit of that doubt. Obviously, we know how it played out beyond that, but that trade thing really helps because maybe temper the expectations or failed expectations of what I had for that specific move and not keeping. We give it maybe a 3.5 or a 4, somewhere in that vicinity, because that Aldridge trade, like I said, I still think about it. I still wonder what would it could have been. Obviously, it didn't play out the way I hoped it would, but there's still a lot of good things and factions in the draft to that era to the point where I still think I can give him a good mark.
How about we average that out to like 3.75?
We can do that.
All right, got it. What about you, Doug?
I'm going to go with about a 4.5. And I think the only blemish here, obviously,
Good shit, yo.
To put this into context, in the Bulls were drafting number 2 here, Andre Bargnani basically a bust. LaMarcus Aldridge, clearly the guy that should have kept, and will always associate players with Aldridge. For the next pick, Adam Morrison, totally a bust. Tyrus Thomas, totally a bust. Next pick, Sheldon Williams, totally a bust. And why do I bring this up? If you look at these top 5 guys, it's not like the 2003 draft where you just picked up a Darko and you had a bag around you, and you picked the only guy who sucked. You missed out on the only guy who was good. So it was a draft class that didn't end up being sprung to top, had a lot of disappointments. And so while the Bulls didn't make the right pick, the context of why they made that pick was not poor. There was a good reason why they took a string to the fences on Tyrus and didn't end up working out. And it was a bad selection, but I'm only going to ding them a half point on the aggressiveness of trading up to get through all dang and then really knocking out of the park their other picks and
Luke Cornett
Duhan getting great value in the second round. I just think that is so much better. And then we have been talking about it so much because it's in part of David Bulls era. But getting Noah in the next year, he was not a guy who was super popular with the fan base. He was also the kind of the best player available. I just think you nailed almost every pick, every franchise pick. And group of guys were 4 of the 5 top 5 players in this. That I think it's also a little bit more feasible than 4 of the 5 guys.
So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Pretty much agree with you guys. The 2004 draft being a major factor in this. Really did set the foundation. The 2007 draft being Joakim Noah, who ended up being a game changer for your franchise. And really the only thing that I put on here is Tyrus Thomas. The most egregious thing when you look at the totality of that draft. So I'll go with the 4 out of 5. And just to recap again, Mark had a 3.75 out of 5. Doug a 4.5 out of 5. And I have a 4 out of 5.
Oh, that's Andre Iguodala.
With our packs. Let's get to the free agency signings and re-signings.
16.
John Paxson was calling the shots in this period. Bulls didn't dive deep into the free agency pool very often. Aside from a brief flirtation with Los Angeles Lakers guard Kobe Bryant in 2004, Paxson was laser focused on building a young core for the draft. In fact, his earliest free agency pickups consisted of veteran role players. In 2003 and 2005, the Bulls either signed or re-signed guys like Ella Harrington, Daryl Pargo, and Lee Downing. During that Scottie Pippen and Kendall Gill were the only players who were previously All-Stars. Both were in the twilight of their careers and were nowhere close to being the same impactful players that had once been defined. Scottie Pippen actually is viewed as more of an olive branch to the organization, following a very messy divorce in 1999. Actually did have one under-the-radar signing and paid dividends. In August 2004, the Bulls picked up forward Andres Nocioni. Nocioni, gold medal that summer with the Argentinian national team, enjoyed 5 productive seasons with the Chicago Bulls, averaging over 11 points and 5 rebounds per game. He perfectly complemented the young core of Heinrich, Gordon, and Bang, and his tenacity and fiery passion made him a fan favorite in Chicago. There's no doubt the most notable free agent pickup from this period was Ben Wallace. Some viewed Wallace as a key piece that would raise the Bulls from a playoff contender to a title contender. While he was never a decorated player on the defensive side of the ball. During his time with the Detroit Pistons, he won Defensive Player of the Year 4 times, and was named either the All-NBA second or third team 5 times. Wallace certainly fit the Bulls' defensive identity. He played a role in the team winning 49 games in 2007 and advancing to the second round of the playoffs. However, the Bulls regressed in his second year, and Wallace noticeably was starting to decline in the fourth. His 4-year, $60 million contract was signed before, Axel pulled the plug about a year and a half later. Wallace was dealt with the Cavaliers in January 2008. Was he the sole reason for the Bulls' struggles that year? Absolutely not. But it was obvious that he was not the big fish that could catapult the team to a true contender. The league was certainly different at that time. And earlier in the period, the Bulls roster situation really didn't call for major splashes. But as the team rose to playoff, Paxson could have explored adding more valuable role players via free agency. So let me preface by saying that free agency was much different back then. It's clear Paxson was better in leadership early in the league. The two moves that I'm about to talk about right now, they weren't signings, but they opened the door to bringing in bench pieces like
Out of Puerto Rico, 78.
And Gennaro Pargo over the years. I'll start with you, Doug. Did letting Marcus Fizer go via the expansion?
Are you fucking serious? Oh, wow.
Actually helps for 04-05?
I think to some extent, I think certainly Robinson was again probably one of the guys really. I don't remember Fizer really having that bad of an attitude. It's hard to really go back. I remember continuing.
Yeah, after this game, Sam.
I would say probably.
What you say?
I said after this game, I gotta go to bed.
All
right.
Vision of bringing in character guys. We're very much focused on bringing in character guys, and if they let these guys go, I think that probably was a good piece of what they were doing. And clearly, that character was a big part of that team and the direction.
So, I mean, going back to my earlier point, that character being a key thing to that, I think we're seeing it now.
You need to find a new team to play with, Ricky.
Yeah, I like Brooklyn.
Play with them next. What about Dallas?
Oh, yeah, Dallas. Yeah, Dallas decent.
The team sort of establishing under Fred Hoiberg.
Yeah, I played with Dallas.
Those guys like Jim Boylan. Obviously, a different situation.
Yeah, my Bulls horrible.
Players like Fizer and definitely Eddie Robinson.
I just like my Bulls, man. I just don't be caring.
However you want to frame it, I think it's always linked into the
I miss Jimmy Butler.
That's what I'm sort of referring.
Probably not me technically, maybe Bulls fans. Yeah, that was the first superstar. Why All-Star we had.
Like I said before, from the outside,
It is what it is.
Gone through 4 or 5 years of that Krause era, where he brought through high upside guys. Talk about if Eddie Robinson was a high upside guy and what the. I mean, he got rid of that guy that was supposedly just about talent, not necessarily the high character type of players. He was character players, and we got to do this era because of what Paxson did throughout this point. So. This is why I look back on this era so fondly, because they were guys that were Paxson sort of guys, but they were guys that came in and worked hard and got the results. So I was glad to see the end of those guys.
Let's do a couple of rapid fire questions real quick before we great signings and re-signings. First, I'll start with you, Doug. Was signing Ben Wallace in 2006 a wasted move?
Well, I mean, in hindsight, clearly, it was a bad contract for 3 years. When the signing happened, I thought he would maybe be a contract for 2 years and beat the last 2 years. I wasn't a big fan of the move, but it was a move that very much made sense to attract a sufficient good team in front of us. And so you took away one of the very core pieces. You added him onto your team. GMs told the offseason each other or that offseason was the best.
That's a smart move, Wendell.
Was viewed as a title. So I think it was the type of change you have to make, but it was a change that ultimately did not work out well at all. And the big reason it did not work out well at all was not even just Ben Wallace, but it was the decline I mentioned earlier of every single one of the players on that team at ages that you typically do not expect.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the way I like to frame it, the way I like to think about it is Wallace was the perfect player for the role. I understand why they went after him. I understand why it was seen as a favourable deal, but I think at that point Ben Wallace was 32 years of age. Had he been, obviously he probably doesn't come to this Chicago Bulls at this point, but had he been maybe 28 or 29 years of age, then I think that changes how we maybe remember that specific signing. Obviously the Bulls did good things in 2006, 2007. We didn't get maybe the longevity. Doug sort of mentioned even just 2 years with Ben Wallace at that point, but he was the right player at the wrong time. That's the way I think about it. I mean, the type of player he was, the type of culture set he was, the type of player he was on defense specifically, I think he fit what this organization was about at that point in time. So, yeah, he was the right player at the wrong time. Had he been a little bit younger and had he been able to reap a few more years of his prime, I think it would have been a good signing, but it didn't obviously play out that way.
So, second question here, and I'll ask start with you. Mark Simeone, the best free agent signing from this period?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting one. But in terms of return for money, probably. I mean, I'm a sucker that I always like the little bench signings. So, as Mrs. Maynard, I'm a big David Wilder fan. So, like, those 1 year minimums with players who probably don't mean that much. They're the ones that excite me a lot. So, when you could bring in someone like Malik Allen or Gary Sangalia or someone like that, I get pretty hyped about those. I think you have some. You have a point, or at least you have some merit in suggesting that Nocheni probably was the best signing. Obviously, wasn't the biggest name, but dollar for dollar.
Zach LaVine, yo, weak ass.
Contributed to the team in prior years.
Hell no. Good shit.
The baby Bulls era, I suppose. I think he probably was the best free agent signing.
I like Otto, but I don't know how to shoot with his ass.
Making that draft pick or coming
Can't shoot with Duncan.
The team's making a whole bunch of draft pick selections, but he was technically a free agent. He was the best value deal at the time through the, say, 2003 to 2007 era. I'll probably agree, unless I'm missing someone off the top of my head, but he's the one that probably brought the most value to us.
I can't disagree with anything Mark said. The only thing I would add is you could make the case for Ben Wallace if you don't look at the overall impact of signing him. But you just think of it was the Bulls getting the number one free. That was available. Stevenson, the Pistons. If we looked at the signing at the time the signing was made, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe we just got Ben Wallace. But then clearly, when you look at any type of hindsight and results of what happened, Nocheni was a positive player. 2 years, it was $3 million a year. Now.
Wow, Larry.
It was a very high quality player for the team. And Ben Wallace was with that contract for 3 years, only 2 for us and 2 for Cleveland. But, player trash, and we got Larry Hughes, so it really ended up just sitting on the books for 4 years in a lousy way for the team. So can't really go wrong by saying Los, and I don't think we forgot anyone else. It was just a period where there was not a whole lot of free agent action.
Yeah, I mean, further to that as well, I mean, I will say, again, Nocheni represented a competitive advantage that the Bulls sort of seemingly had over the league at that point. Right? I mean, there was a few teams doing this, but bringing someone like Nocheni from overseas, that was bigger options for a lot of teams who were just focused on US-born players, I suppose, in terms of filling out their roster, but the Bulls were a little bit more creative at that point where they were bringing in a player from abroad. someone who wasn't necessarily on the radar of a lot of teams. So to get a player in like Mochiani from a different league, a different country, how did he become a truly established, incredible role player in this team? One that I still fondly remember. I think that again, I remember that side that's not because of what he created, but the fact that he was specific having your team building that maybe other teams weren't using at that point in time.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate the free agency signings and re-signings during this period? Mark, why don't we start with you?
I mean, to Doug's point, like, it all hinges on Ben Wallace, really, and it really depends how you want to frame that. You think about Ben Wallace's signing in terms of who he was as a marquee free agent. I mean, we like to make fun of really securing the number one headliner in free agency. They obviously did that in 2006 with Ben Wallace. We don't think about it in that realm because it never worked out, or at least it played itself okay for one season, but then the following few years were a complete disaster. So it really depends on what perspective you want to apply to it. But if you just factor it all together, maybe I give the whole free agency from maybe 2003 to 2007 somewhere in that vicinity. Because I think it's hard to look at the Ben Wallace situation without thinking about what it became or what it quickly became. Maybe if we got 2 or 3 good years out of it, maybe it's a completely different conversation. But yeah, it's probably a 2.5 or a 3. So maybe if we're going to do the whole average thing like we did before, maybe I'd say 2.75. But it's hard for me to ignore what the Ben Wallace situation became, even though prior to it becoming what it did, it was perceived as a pretty damn good sign.
So we're going with 2.
We'll go 2.75.
I like the way you're scoring it. Doug, what about you?
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna join Mark on the 275 bandwagon. I think in the end, all the signings on the margins were good. I'm assuming it was a good signing. However, real signings, guys like you mentioned, Malik Allen and Darius and real good signings, decent signings. And then Ben Wallace was like, if he didn't go, that was the name that was available in free agency. And so they went out and they got the number 1 target, and so that was like great in a sense, except that in the end, it worked out really badly, and it wasn't like it was crazy hindsight to say that this guy whose game is based primarily on athleticism might not age super well when he's 32. I was a little bit critical of the signing at the time, and I thought that this would just Madison Chandler, even though he had just crumpled up into a little ball and tried the corner all year, the previous year, I thought you still take your best bet on a guy who's like 23 years old and 7'1", rather than a guy who's 32 and 6'7" playing the center position. So it's not entirely hindsight for me. It didn't end up working out super well. So I'm right with Mark.
Fuck it, I'm gonna go with the trifecta. 275. All right, so recap across the board: 275 out of 5. The free agency signings and re-signings. Let's go to the trade. Welcome to another episode of Grading Dark Packs, a special series from the Rebuild the Bowl podcast. I'm your host, Matt Gentile, and today we're going to look back on what many view as the highest point of the Dark Packs era. We'll be grading all the notable moves from the 2008 offseason to the conclusion of the 2014 regular season. That means plenty of discussion. Pieces like Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, and Tom Thibodeau. This also is when Mark Foreman was a prominent figure as GM, and John Paxson was more behind the scenes, new role as Vice President of Basketball Operations. So, let's recap this. When you look back at Bulls basketball from the 2008-9 season to the 2013-14 season, you could make a strong case that this is one of the franchise history, outside of the Michael Jordan era.
Wow.
From the thrilling playoff series against the Boston Celtics in 2009 to Derrick Rose's dominant MVP season 2011. This period featured many memories that brought joy to Bulls Nation. Also, it was a time when John Paxson and Gar Forman made a lot of solid moves to make the Bulls an Eastern Conference power. Top of the list was drafting Derrick Rose. Of course, it was an easy move, seeing as the team lucked into the number one despite having a 1.7% chance of it actually happening. Still, you have to give the front office credit. The Michael Beasley hype was a real thing, and they could have easily convinced themselves that they already had a point guard, Kurt Heinrich. It was obvious from day one Rose was a special talent, capable of taking over any game. Rose possessed elite speed off the dribble, making him a nightmare for opposing players to guard. And even at 6'3", he was strong enough to finish taller defenders. Rose won Rookie of the Year in 2009, and he helped the Bulls win 41 games and sneak into the playoffs as a seventh seed. The team faced the defending champion Boston Celtics, who were without Kevin Garnett. Despite losing in 7 games, the series is often cited as one of the best in NBA history, featuring lots of lead changes and 7 combined overtime periods. For the Bulls, Rose showed his prowess in the series, which included a 36 points in Game 1. The series also featured clutch shots by Ben Gordon, as well as deadline acquisitions of John Salmons and Brad Miller. It also featured a key steal and dunk by 2007 first-rounder Joakim Noah. With Gar Forman taking a more prominent role as GM in 2009, the front office started to map out a game plan to capitalize on their new star player. The NBA was a year away from an historic offseason that would feature many high-profile free agents. LeBron James.
So we playing with the same team we playing the series?
In order to
If you want.
Alright, we play a series.
The Bulls let Ben Gordon leave the Detroit Pistons in free agency and looked to start shedding cap space for the following offseason. Throughout the 2009-10 season, the team was in a period of transition. Rose, who was selected to his first All-Star team that year, continued to grow alongside Joakim Noah. Aside from those two, everyone else was being evaluated, including former 2000 Raul Deng and head coach Vinny Del Negro, who the team hired the previous year. Deng, who struggled the year before to find chemistry with Rose, started to develop his team alongside the Sexton's point guard. Del Negro, on the other hand, didn't really show any signs of improvement as a head coach. After a second straight 41-win season and first-round playoff exit, the Bulls fired Del Negro. They hired Boston Celtics assistant Tom Thibodeau as head coach in June 2010. The Celtics be the top coaching candidate and one who could potentially attract marquee free agents. Armed with a new coach and cap space, the 2010 offseason was poised to be big for the franchise. The Bulls were reportedly a top destination for LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, but they struck out on the three, who all chose to take their talents to South Beach instead. Still, Garpax rebounded nicely by signing veteran forwards Carlos Boozer and solid role players like Kyle Korver, Ronnie guard C.J. Watson. Even with a decent offseason, no one could predict the meteoric rise that started in the 2010-11 season. Thibodeau led the Bulls to a 62-win campaign, the most wins in the league, and a 21-game improvement from the year before. Derrick Rose ascended from an all-star to an MVP in the blink of an eye, and the surrounding cast elevated their play too. Carlos Boozer proved to be a solid post scorer, and both Luol Deng and Joakim Noah took another development under Thibodeau, along with Korver, Brewer, and Watson. Former draft choices Thomas Gibson and Omer Asheep formed what would become known as the bench mob. Thibodeau's crew was a hard-nosed, tough-minded bunch. Even when they seemed outmatched on paper, their energy and defensive prowess always rose to the occasion. Despite losing the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Bulls came back strong in 2012. Even with
Are you fucking serious? Hell nah. Stop it.
Unfortunately,
Down by 20.
one of the playoffs sent shockwaves through the team. They were eliminated in the first round by the Philadelphia 76ers in 6 games. With Rose shelved for the entire 2013 season, the front office decided to part with most of the bench mob. Out were Korver, Brewer, Watson, and Asheep. In were Marco Bellinelli, Nate Robinson, and a familiar face, Kurt Heinrich. The undermanned squad in 2013 still finished with 45 wins, and a young Bull was starting to emerge. Former 2011 drafters Jimmy Butler became a defensive stalwart. Even after injuries sidelined Heinrich, Dang, and later Noah, the team still advanced to the second round and managed to take one game from a stat violation team. The Bulls lost in 5 games would go on to win the title. The Bulls decided to partner with Bellinelli and Robinson to use their cap space on veteran forward Mike Dunn, which would help space the floor for Rose. After 10 games into the 2014 season, Rose suffered a season-ending meniscus injury, and the Bulls were forced to pivot. In January 2014, the Bulls traded Dang to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the team was willing to punt on the season. However, Thibodeau rallied the troops and made Joakim Noah the focal. It turned out to be Noah's signature season. He not only won Defensive Player of the Year and earned first team honors, but he also finished fourth in MVP voting. Despite winning 47 games and locking up the fourth seed, the Bulls were bounced in the first round by the Washington
That's a
Wizards
fucking
in
shame.
5 games. While injuries certainly played a key role in keeping the Bulls from title contention, there were other factors that can't be overlooked during this period. For starters, Garpax chose not to profile free agents after Rose's MVP season. They had chances to be part of the sweepstakes with players like Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, and even James Harden, but they ultimately chose to stay pat. The front office also made miscalculations in the draft. Most notably, in 2012, they decided to use the first-round pick on Kentucky point guard Marcus Teague instead of selecting Michigan State forward Draymond Green. It's also tension between the front office and players began to grow at the year's level, whether it was injuries, minutes, or personnel decisions. The disconnect was starting to create a toxic culture in the organization. When Bulls fans look back on this period, they're forced to always ask, what if? What if Derrick Rose stayed healthy? What if Garpax got another star player? Outside of the Michael Jordan era, this period in Bulls basketball was the closest the team ever came. But even with those missed opportunities, John Paxson and Gar Forman still built a core that we can look back on fondly years later. Alright, so let's bring in our guest to help us grade this period of the Garpax era. I'm thrilled to be joined by both hosts of Ball on Bulls podcast. First making his Rebuild the Bulls return is Big Dave Watson. Dave, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. I'm looking forward to getting into this era of Garpax and making his Rebuildable debut, his C-Dub, a.k.a. Chris. Welcome, Chris. How are you?
You're welcome, man. Hey, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, actually, real quick, I kind of feel like it's off the way I pronounce Ball. So, Dave, give the people what they want. Pronounce that correctly.
First of all, never feel like a schmuck. You do it, man. You say it correctly, you say it right. So I get it right.
Avery Johnson. Perfect.
Exactly. That's right. Just get Avery in the system and let him on out. That's it. Put more Avery in there and let him on out. 1999 Avery Johnson, or when he was coaching the Rams, Avery, or Alabama Avery, whichever one you want. Just get that Avery in and let it on out.
Before we start grading John Paxson, I want to talk a little bit about this period that spans from the time Derrick Rose was drafted through Joakim Noah's magical 2014. For my money, it's the most exciting period of Bulls basketball outside the dynasty. We had Rose, Noah, Thibs, 2009 playoffs against the Celtics, 2011 season, the hard-nosed defense. I think it was some of the most fun I had watching. But I'll start with you, Chris. How do you view this era of Bulls basketball?
Wow.
Somewhat hopeful. Like in this era, you kind of knew the Bulls were on the cusp of becoming something. Like you contrast the years. It's like the Bulls are bad, you know, they're not going anywhere. Even though the Bulls knew they weren't going to win the championship, you had fun watching the team. You had people you could root for at times, and Joe Kim. You had Joe Kim, MVP candidate. You know, you had that on your team, on the Bulls team, top five, right? MVP candidate on your team. So there's always some kind of like ties to folk. Like it was like something maybe a year or two down the line, or maybe someone could get a little better, or could we have talent we had a constant MVP of the team, and we had MVP of the team previously. So it's like he just sort of like we kind of had a hopeful glow team. We the team wasn't going to win the league championship, but he just had and the hope you had was just a fight. It wasn't like this. It was like, you know what? I can shift the season. I can believe this team can the championship. Or it did deserve. It was fun to watch. So that's why I'm the back on that year particularly.
You hit that on the head. It's like it was the last era of hope for the Bulls so far. Like hopefully that continues, going into this new era. But it was the last era of logical hope, where you could sit there and say, "I have one of the best 3 players in the NBA on my team," and you were logical in saying that. Having somebody like Derrick Rose just make you put your chest out a little bit more when you walk around town. When you walk. Because you're like, man, I got one of those dudes. We got one of those guys. One of those guys that SportsCenter is going to show those highlights of. One of those guys that you're definitely going to want to see on the nationally televised game that everybody wants to see, that people want to come out and check out. They're going to sell out the stadium for, whether they're at home or they're on the road. That guy's going to get you on that Christmas Day game. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody just fell in love with the team with Joakim Noah and Luol Deng and the Bench Mob and all those guys. So it was the last era for logical hope where you weren't looked at as a crazy person when you said the Bulls were going to win the championship or at least compete for it. It was very logical that they were on that kind of level. So that it was the last era of like real hope.
With Gar Forman, this is the time period where he assumed the role of GM and John Paxson moved up to Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations. That happened in the 2009 offseason. Did you even know who Gar Forman was before he took over?
Hell,
He said, hell no, I didn't know who Gar Forman was.
Gar Forman could have, I don't know, been working at Burger King, serving me up, special fries. You know what I'm saying? Or he could have easily been a manager of a Toys R Us. Or he could have easily joined a Fortune 500 company. And you could have told me any of those things, and I would have believed you. Like, I was like, who? I heard his name. I don't know anybody named Gar. I thought it was something from a movie or something, like a Ben Stiller movie.
Ben Stiller.
Like I didn't know who he was. He looks like a cartoon character.
If you were running a Toys R Us like you said, I think you would terrify a lot of people.
Scary man is happening. But it was so strange how he came out of nowhere. Have that, and then you look at his background, I'm like, well, maybe he was one of those scouts that, was behind the scenes that just didn't hear about because he's that good, you know what I'm saying? One of those guys that Clint Eastwood writes movies about, or something like that, just out of nowhere kind of guy, like, oh, you want to know, how Reggie Johnson got to the Lakers, he's just the man behind the scenes like that. But I didn't know who he was. I had a pretty good grasp. Chicago Bulls and the grass on the front office, and I'm
Shaq
like,
Harrison. That's a good matchup on Jimmy.
What? Like, oh, okay. And we left it alone. Well, at least that's what I give people, saying time to prove themselves. You know what I'm saying? Or, just to find out. I don't want to just judge you off that. If I've never seen you before. So I'm just giving him time because I'm like, all right, Pax, you're in the prime of, this era, making this move. Let's see what goes on. Let's see how it happens. And I'm sure we'll get to that later, how it happened and everything. But no, I had no idea who he was at all.
What about you, Chris? You know who he was?
I heard his name a few times on the radio. That's about it. So no. So looks aside and how he sounded, it was like, okay, this dude. Okay, and part of me is still believing the facts. So it's more or less.
I think it's probably time that we get to the grading here. So for those of you just tuning into this series, let me explain how it works. Dave, Chris, and I will grade 4 categories. March rolled around. Despite some solid drafts earlier in the period, the last two certainly raised some eyebrows with the benefit of hindsight. In 2012, Garpax decided to use their first-round pick on Kentucky point guard Marcus Teague. They allowed Michigan State forward Draymond Green to fall all the way to the second round. The Bulls worked out Green prior to the draft, and he was the preferred choice of head coach Tom Thibodeau. However, the front office felt it needed to beef up point guard depth after the ACL broke. Green is now a three-time All-Star with a decorated resume, winning Defensive Player of the Year in 2017 and being named to all NBA first or second defensive teams 5 times combined since 2015. And Teague, he played 3 seasons with the Bulls and has played a combined 91 games from 2012 to 2018. In the 2013 draft, the team decided to select New Mexico Bull Snell to help space his forward. Quick definition of a meh player. In that same draft, the Bulls passed on names like Rudy Gobert, Tim Hardaway Jr., Alan Crabb, and Mason Plumlee, who have all gone on to be slightly more productive players, with the exception of Gobert, who is a multi-time All-Star. Still, Garpax turned in very solid drafts during this time period. Even with 2 possible blemishes on their record, they managed to draft 2 All-Stars and a couple of useful role players who were key to the Bulls. Alright, so let me first ask, had the Bulls not won the lottery in 2000, they likely would have picked around number 1. How do you think things would have gone, Chris, had they not done that?
Yeah, I'm starting to look at the Twitter and eyebrows after. Like, so they would fail, say they would have like a top 2 draft or something. We have just bad, but just Teague, you know that. Yeah. So yeah, so all of the New York hell of basketball. Yeah, it would have gone well. Although it would have been nice to see how people Parkland and Shaz with a good roster. It would have been a good one show. Which has been not just watch, I love it good. But I thought the season that well, you had the Monty Rose with them now. I'm not sure what the draft were at that time, but pretty sure I knew Roker.
They would have maybe gotten James Johnson. Oh wait, that didn't happen.
Goodness. Oh, it would have been good. it was tough sledding going on. But what I remember at that time, I remember watching the lottery, and the feeling I had was, I didn't have any real hope or really anything. Like, I was like, well, there's nothing really here. I thought they would have gone to no guard, to be honest.
I'm gonna let you know if I'm gonna either play with the Bulls or I'm gonna just play with.
All right.
Yeah, cause I like my Bulls, but
Those guys, they had,
I don't know. I mean, the Bulls and the Heat, they match up. I mean, a little bit, but I'm tired as fuck. I ain't even really trying. I'm just trying to make sure you ain't scoring. I ain't even been asleep.
Damn.
Been up like damn near I've been up for like the last 2 days.
Why?
Just can't sleep. I damn near got like over 2,000 200,000 VCs.
Shit. I spent on my VC the other day.
Yeah, I got like damn near 180 something.
I'm sure
I'm playing my GM.
I've been playing my team.
Yeah, I'm gonna start playing that.
I think they would have went guard, and we would have just been continuing into the mediocrity of 41 teams and stuff like that. I just think it would have been another 40-win season because the highlight of it to that point was when we beat the Heat in the playoffs. That was the highlight to that point. It was like, oh man, we might have something. Next year we had to be special in the face. And I see the other things. This guy all the other people.
Oh, and Ben Wallace is old. I didn't know this.
He got haircut. Like, he should be old. He's got haircut.
I mean, if you look outside the Rose pick, they actually had a pretty impressive draft early in that period. And in our last show, looking at 2003 to 2008, we talked about the 2004 draft, which is a pretty impressive one. That's Ben Gordon, Luol Deng in the first season. If you had to make, actually, if you had to make a better draft, would you pick the 2011 draft that got Jimmy Butler and Nikola Mirotic, or the 2004 draft is more impressive for Garpax?
I'm gonna go. I know Chris. I'm gonna go with the 2004 draft. Only because I know you got. They did a good job in 2011. Anyway, at all. I mean, you made those trades. You got Rico, who was very high on a lot of pieces, and then you got Jimmy Butler, who was just still one of the greatest draft day finds ever, like of all time. Seriously. To find him at 30 and get the value that you got out of Jimmy Butler was just incredible. But Ben Gordon was on the borderline of special.
Yeah,
there was nothing really like that. The man was Steph Curry before Steph Curry. The jump shot, the shooting was insane. He was the one who gave you that confidence also that I spoke about earlier. Because when the fourth quarter came around, Chris and I would be texting each other like, it's Ben Gordon time. Like, here it comes. It's Ben Gordon time. Time to win the game. And then he would go and he would win the game. The man won 6th Man of the Year as a rookie. That's insane. Like, that's never been done before. I still don't know how he doesn't win Rookie of the Year. Doing that still makes absolutely no sense to me at all. He was that kind of special shooter. And he was definitely carrying the team out. Didn't play defense, which is why, he was not Scott Skiles' best friend. Because he didn't play defense. He would rub you the wrong way with some of his comments and, the way he would kind of, just kind of isolate himself a little bit from the team and everything like that. And just the things he would say sometimes. And yeah, he was, the confrontational somewhat, and it didn't sit well with a lot of Bulls fans. The Bulls fans don't like that kind of thing. They just don't like that in their superstar. They like to, work hard, face to the grindstone, hard-head, unskilled kind of guy. They always have, and probably always will. He really wasn't that. He was a hard worker for sure. You can't be that excellent at shooting and not be a guy that's just working hard. But besides that, he was, but it didn't stop. It hit it, man. It was just breaking people down. And in their life with these just cold-blooded shots, man. I love that. So, when he gets was it Minnesota that blew up there?
Phoenix Suns.
And getting Luol Deng, and he was hiring everybody. He was hiring Griffin. His career went exactly exactly to a T. We set it out. We set it out with his rookie year to a T. It happened exactly like we thought it would. But at that time, Luol Deng was very high stock and high value and considered to be that kind of guy to have on your squad. So I liked having him in the Luol. I've never been a Mirotic guy. I thought he could play, but he struggled when we needed him, and then the ball when we didn't. And Jimmy Butler is your only saving grace in that, then I'm going to take Ben Gordon and I'm going to take Luol Deng, because Ben did something I never saw before, which is a 6 Man of the Year.
Yeah, I'm going 21.
What?
I think
upset. What?
You don't like Nico.
You know who else is in that draft, Chris?
And I'm not the biggest Jimmy Butler fan as well, so I'm not doing that.
Good game, Sam. I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow, dog.
Alright.
Alright. Cause I gotta get up at 4 in the morning.
I mean, you put it around. It was come on, pretty close. I know it was crap.